All right, let's go to the Skype machine and welcome in one of the best welterweights in the world, Rory MacDonald. There he is. Rory, how are you?
Hey, I'm not good.
You're upset.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Tell us what happened. When did this happen and how it happened?
It was in sparring. It was an accidental elbow. Nothing really to say about how it happened. It just, we were sparring like regular every Sunday or Saturday, and an elbow just caught me by accident, and it was so deep it went down to the bone. So they had to put in 3 layers of stitching, and it came out to be a total of 38.
Wow. And it's over your right eye, I believe, right?
Yeah, right
Yeah, right
there.
over there. Oh, wow. Did you know right away that this was pretty severe? Did you have a feeling that this may cause you to pull out of the fight?
Yeah, like I like, when you just have like a gut feeling when something happens right away. It
Yeah.
was like I I felt it, and then I kind of knew, and then I did a move, and then I hit him or whatever, and then I just kind of stopped, and then I watched the blood just like kind of like squirt out sporadically, and then like I know when that happens, it's deep. You know what I mean? Because it was like spraying, and so I just kind of sat there, and I I knew like with like all my like I just knew that I was screwed, and I walked off the mat, looked at it once I cleaned it up, and I could see how deep it was, and you know at that point I was telling Faraz, I was like, I'm still gonna fight, and then we went to the doctor, and then I calmed down, and obviously I wouldn't even be able to train for the fight right now, so.
So what kind of timetable did your doctor give you as to when you could start seriously training for another fight?
Like 4 to 6 weeks, maybe.
4 to 6 weeks. So that brings you to pretty much up to the fight. So it would be impossible for you to even take that, right?
Pretty much, yeah, because I usually take about a week off of training the week of the fight.
Yeah.
Basically that's just technical, light stuff. But um, yeah, basically, the earliest, I'm looking to fight is in November. Because the way this cut is like it's a deep cut, like I explained. But if I got it re-injured and re-injured and re-injured, like if I went in too early, that could be a problem later on. Down in my career, so I could reopen in fights or reopen in training, and it could just be an issue, that I don't want to be around. So, my coaches and my management, we all got on the phone and we talked, and they calmed me down, and gave me their points, and you know the best option was to wait, and hopefully BJ will take the fight again in November. So we'll see what he has to say.
We'll get to November in a second. I just want to ask you, obviously, just looking at you now, you're obviously very upset, and this just happened, 48 hours ago, so I don't expect you to have fully digested it yet. But because this was such a big fight for you, you called him out, he was coming out. It was a massive deal in your home country. How are you dealing with all this? Like, do you need to just take some time off, just clear your head? Are you still worked up right now? Just put us into your mind how you're thinking right now.
Well, I'm getting less and less upset every day. Like, I haven't really been seeing anyone or anything because it's a pretty big blow to me. Like, this was probably the most motivated I've ever been for a fight. And, I'd wake up in the morning and I'd just be ecstatic to go to the gym. And, I was just on fire, and, I just felt perfect mentally and physically, and then all of a sudden, of course, you can never have a perfect training camp in this sport. And that goes and happens, and it really knocked me off my high horse, and it was a real stab to the heart.
Yeah. I try to get BJ on the show, not necessarily at the same time, but I wanted to get his take on the situation because you've come out and said that you'd like to fight in Montreal. He did tweet you, and I want to get your response. He said, with all due respect, you challenged me to come out of retirement, and I accepted. Then you back out of the fight. Now you want to put off our fight for 2 more months, but this fight should happen as soon as the cut heals. 10 weeks from now is plenty of time. Let's fight on October 13th. That's more than reasonable. Can you fight on October 13th?
Well, that's like, what is that, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks later? Like,
Yeah, from
what
September.
does that give me?
Right.
Does that give me like maybe 2 weeks of training? Like what I don't get about him is how he can come out and tell me what's fair and what's not when he doesn't even know the situation. He didn't talk to my doctors. He wasn't there. He didn't see it. So he's making this statement online and getting all his followers excited, when really he doesn't even know the situation yet. He should just keep it professional and go through my manager and, and hear what I have to say, behind closed doors. So, basically the earliest I could fight is November. I want to fight. I don't even want to fight September. I want to fight this Saturday. I'm so hungry for this fight. I don't even I'm so depressed about having to wait even longer, So, this is a big problem for me too.
It seems like for some reason BJ has brought out a fire in you. Like even at the press conference, people are asking me, the one in Toronto, hey, is Rory acting cocky? You were saying some things about him. He wasn't there, all that stuff. Why do you have this sort of deep passion to beat up BJ Penn?
It's not even really him. It's just kind of this. I just feel like this is like going to be like a new chapter for me in my career. It's like a new start. It puts me into this different spot in the UFC. In this fight, I'm really gonna show a different side of me. Everybody obviously has enjoyed my fights up to this point, but this is gonna be a different one. This is gonna be a whole nother level of my fighting and everything. So, I don't really like to talk and hype myself up with words. I just like to prove myself with, my fighting. I think the people that are my fans can respect that. So, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. But I'm very, very motivated for this, and I'm gonna show a side that I haven't shown before.
Does any of it have to do with all the drug testing stuff and the accusations and VADA? Like, do you feel like he's made it personal?
Well, no. I mean, that's just BJ. I mean, I know what I signed up for. The guy's got a boatload of excuses and always wants to get in people's heads, but he's really not gonna. He's barking up the wrong tree because he's really not getting to me. I'll do the testing if we fight. I'll ignore all the shit he has to say on Twitter, and he says things like underlined that are, that he comes across respectful, but he has a message underneath of the message, to try to get to me or get people to not like me or whatever it is, and it really doesn't bother me because I don't care what people think about me. I just want to fight. That's it.
And then you get all his fans probably bombarding you, right?
Yeah, but I don't even look. I mean, they can say whatever they want to say. It doesn't bother me. I'm here to fight. I'm not here to talk and get fans or whatever these other guys are here for. I'm not a fake fighter. I'm here to fight.
And you agree, just to be clear, you did agree to that VADA stuff, even though UFC President Dana White doesn't seem all that into it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna, would have made me look stupid if I would have, said no to it.
Right.
So, I'll go along with it. I'll do it. I'll prove I'm not on anything. Sure, whatever. Doesn't, it's kind of a pain in the ass, sure, but I mean, I'll go along with it, and maybe it'll send a good message out there, to other fighters and athletes, But
did you start that process yet, or was it too early?
Yeah, I signed up for it this last week.
Oh wow!
And then I got cut, so that changes everything.
Now, are you a little worried? We've got Sean Shirk saying he wants to fight BJ in Toronto. Siar Bahadurzada came out, says he will donate his purse to charity to fight him. Are you worried someone's going to come in and take this fight away from you now?
There's so many other fights in this UFC. Fight who you want to fight. It's up to BJ, at this point. But I'm ready to fight. And if he wants to hold off, what is it, like a couple months or whatever, I'll be there. I'll be more than willing to make this happen. Um, Whatever. I'm still going to fight someone at the end of the day. So if it's not BJ, it'll be somebody else. But I do want that fight still, obviously.
Has anyone in your, obviously your manager, Lex McMahon, one of the best, has he talked to anyone in the UFC yet about the situation, got a sense for what they're thinking?
Yeah, of course, we're trying to hold on to the fight. We want BJ to fight me. I still want it. I still want it dearly, but that's his part of the job. Not me. I just trying to heal.
And have they said anything to him about, yeah, we're going to try to make this happen? Like, have you gotten any sort of response from them yet?
I'm sure they are trying to work on it.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's just up to BJ at this point. I think BJ knows what's up, and his camp knows. So they know what the timeline we expect to heal and get a full training camp in. They know what's going on. So, but I'm sure to get in some arguments with him, and he's going to be, he's going to try to force me into something to fight me, or like when I'm not healthy or whatever. So, whatever. I don't know.
How do you not try to get into that? Because he is, active online, and his fans, he has the website and all that. Do you try to not go on social media and take the bait, so to speak, when you're fighting a guy like that?
Well,
is it hard for you to bite your tongue, or I mean, I know you're a pretty quiet guy, but like sometimes when someone says something about you, regardless of whether or not you're quiet, you like to defend yourself.
Yeah, of course. I want people to like me and to know who I am and to get the real story out there, to get both sides of the story. But that's just what this sport has turned into. It's just like full of media and full of people that think they have an opinion, and whatever, let them have it. I don't care what people think of me. The only people I care about who think of, like, have a good opinion of me is my family and my friends. And if they love me and they think I'm a good person, then I'm doing the right thing. Everyone else can think what they want.
So now, Rory, you have 4 to 6 weeks on the sidelines, no training. What do you do? This is your life. How do you pass the time?
Oh, I could still do athletics and stuff like that and stay in shape and eat good and stay mentally strong and stuff like that. And so I'll still try to, stay in general shape and whatever. I don't know. I'm going to be miserable though.
Have you talked to anyone? Like, have you talked to someone like George who's, been close to fighting a big fight and then having to pull out due to an injury, just about the mental side of it, about not trying to beat yourself up about it too much?
He sent me a couple text messages, and a lot of my training partners did. And, I just am kind of staying in my shell, hanging out by myself and thinking about it. I'm still pissed off about it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. I could tell, obviously. So you're just going to sort of let yourself stew over it, and at some point, the sun will come up, and you'll start to plan ahead, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we appreciate.
Well, what can I do? Wait it out,
Yeah, no. I can understand, and we could see the frustration on your face, and I know you probably don't really want to even talk to me about it. So I appreciate it. I don't want to make you feel worse about the situation. Just want to get your thoughts. Anything else you want?
No,
you want to...
Yep.
Sorry.
No, I want to get it out there, and I'm more than happy to talk to you about it.
Is there anything we didn't touch on that you'd like to get out there to the people?
No.
No, okay. And by the way, just to be clear, BJ saying you're ducking your, what is the exact word that he said? Let me just say, he said, then you, well, let me just get this right. You back out of the fight. Like, it almost seems like people were saying that you were looking for an excuse to come out. Clearly, we could see right there over your eye. That's not exact. I mean, that's a valid excuse right there. That's not just any kind of excuse.
Yeah. He could say what he wants. Obviously, he knows I can't. You know what I mean? But he wants to go on Twitter and get me excited and get his fans excited or whatever. So, he's doing what he does. Let him talk. But, when it comes time to when we actually fight, he's going to pay for everything.
All right. Strong words from Rory MacDonald. Get well soon, Rory. Hope you feel better emotionally and physically, of course. And we know we'll see you back very, very soon. And hey, Montreal, hometown fight, that'd be pretty good as well. That's a nice silver lining, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the time, Rory. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. There he is, Rory MacDonald, joining us on the MMA Hour live from his adopted hometown of Montreal. You could see the disappointment and the frustration there on Rory MacDonald's face. That's an interesting look into the life of an athlete and how everything is on the line and your body. And if one small thing happens, a cut over your eye, it's a major setback in your life. And for a young guy like that who is going to fight on the biggest of stages in Toronto against one of the greatest of all time in BJ Penn, I mean, say what you will about that card, the flyweight title fight, the Bisping-Stan fight, regardless of what Michael Bisping may say, I think that was the fight the MMA community was most looking forward to of the three. And you see Rory MacDonald, how disappointed he is. It's hard for your heart not to go out to him. And so some people on Twitter were saying to me, oh, you know, he's looking for a way out, all this nonsense. Get out of here with that. Do you really see a guy here, a young guy here, looking for a way out? Does that look like the kind of guy who's looking for a way out with a cut over his eye, disappointed as hell, staying at home? The blinds are probably not up, dark as hell on a beautiful Monday afternoon in Montreal. Do you really think this guy's looking for a way out? He called him out. Why is he looking for a way out? He did the Vada thing. Get out of here. Get out of here with that. I love that fight. It's a fantastic fight. I hope it Brazil, Montreal, whatever. I don't care. But I do hope the UFC holds on to BJ, because at the end of the day, he came out of retirement for this fight. So while the Sean Shirk fight's nice, CR is nice, let's be honest. He came out of retirement for this fight. I think it would make a lot more sense if you have BJ wait and have him fight. And if he doesn't want to wait, all power to him. He doesn't have to wait. Let him take those fights. Those are fun fights too. But given everything now, can you imagine what it would be like in Montreal if Rory MacDonald fights BJ? And by the way, I can understand if BJ doesn't want to fight in Canada. I mean, there's a lot going on here, probably neutral ground. But he agreed to fight in Toronto, pretty much the same thing, right? It's not like Rory does train out of Montreal. He's not from Montreal. It's not his hometown. That would be, his home province would be British Columbia. So I guess a fight in Vancouver would be closer to that. But it's just, I mean, now with this, and hopefully we could get BJ to respond. I was hoping BJ would call up in the middle of the interview and just say what he had to say about the situation. That would be a moment. But unfortunately, that did not happen. We tried to get him on the show. He has some family stuff to take care of. And hopefully we could get him on next week.